In the last episode, we uncovered the true nature of the first beast of Revelation as a composite system of power that inherits, absorbs, and subjugates. Today, we ask, where does this beast now rule from? And how does it secure the loyalty of the world? Welcome back to School of the Land. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus is explaining to his apostles the signs that would mark the close of the age. Now, some English translations render this phrase as the end of the world, but that's misleading. The Greek words that appear in the text more correctly mean close of the age. Verses 27 and 28 are especially relevant for this discussion. Verse 27 reads, "For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." This is generally understood as a prophecy for the return of Christ, whom Baha'is under the covenant understand to be Baha'u'llah. Born in Persia in the east, his appearance was followed by the promised establisher of his covenant in the west. That person was Dr. Leland Jensen, a lifelong citizen of the United States, from Persia in the east to the United States in the west. Then, immediately after this, Jesus adds a statement that seems at first glance to come out of nowhere. "For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together." In the midst of death and decay, imperial power, represented by the eagles, gather to feed. Now, many Bible commentators correctly observe that Jesus was making a veiled reference to the coming destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, the carcass being the hallowed remains of the old order, and the eagles symbolizing Rome, whose imperial standard bore that symbol. This interpretation is sound, but it's incomplete. Imperial Rome's destruction of Jerusalem was merely a foreshadowing of the bigger destruction still to come. In our age, the eagle circling the carcass is no longer Rome. It's the imperial United States, whose global reach is sustained through endless war, economic extraction, and the consolidation of power under the banner of freedom, security, and justice. This military and economic hegemony, paired with the enduring financial architecture centered in the City of London and Wall Street, defines the modern Anglo-American dominance of the beast system. This is the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, mentioned in Revelation 6, the one on the pale horse, whose name was Death, and was given power to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Think wars, economic sanctions, and proxy wars. The United States Imperium stands as the hegemonic center of the beast's power. And the United Nations, founded by the victors of World War II, embodies the beast's hollow slogans like international rules-based order. Designed as a pale imitation of the true world commonwealth foretold by Baha'u'llah, it's a pretender to the throne of global justice. Since its inception, it has proven utterly incapable of enforcing a lasting peace, standing by while monumental injustices scar the global stage. with its Security Council dominated by the nuclear powers and a toothless General Assembly. It's the perfect symbol representative of this system, a structure that enshrines the power of a few while creating the illusion of a democratic process, a feckless body that enables the beast by lending legitimacy to its counterfeit order. This was the condition of the beast in the 1990s during the ministry of Dr. Leland Jensen, the period of history that many historians call the Unipolar moment, when the power of the U.S. empire and its proxy international institutions was unrivaled. The beast's ultimate throne, however, is not a place on a map, but the corrupt human heart, where the idolatrous worship of the human will to power replaces divine law. That corruption rarely announces itself. It enters in disguise, quietly reshaping the soul's desires before it ever demands obedience. It needs to persuade its subjects that the glory of the empire is their glory, that its order is the natural order. It contrives a narrative, a central narrative, a civilizational idea that binds the people together. When belief in that foundation falters, the structure buckles. We saw this in ancient Rome. Its old pagan myths centered on civic ritual and state gods couldn't sustain it against the rising spiritual authority and grassroots appeal of the Christian message. Rome was already in trouble. Its economy was faltering, corruption was widespread, the bureaucracy was bloated, the empire had stretched itself too thin, and its borders were under constant pressure. Collapse may have been inevitable. But maybe just as important is that Rome had lost its animating story. It no longer knew how to explain why it ruled, or why people should believe in it, sacrifice for it, or remain loyal to it. Without that shared sense of purpose and legitimacy, the old Western Roman Empire didn't just decline, it unraveled and eventually disappeared in the form the world had once recognized. 3 centuries later, Rome's imperial ambitions were resurrected in a new guise, the Holy Roman Empire. This revival didn't arise from military conquest alone, but from a reconstituted narrative, one that supplied moral authority and the appearance of spiritual legitimacy. Through alliance with the hierarchy of the Roman Church, a new civilizational project took shape, a baptized empire armed with sacred sanction. 3 centuries after the birth of the Holy Roman Empire, medieval Europe would carry that vision forward, marching into the Crusades, fueled by a galvanizing vision. Christendom triumphant. That alliance between state and church reveals how power, when operating outside the covenant, seeks to wrap itself in legitimacy. Authority must be made to feel righteous, to command loyalty. Sacred language is co-opted to sanctify structures that originate in human ambition rather than divine covenant. This process is the dynamic revelation introduces next. In the following episode, we'll meet the second beast, the one who has given meaning to the empire, has enforced its legitimacy, and has taught the world to look upon the first beast and call it holy. Until then, you can explore the foundations of God's kingdom at schooloftheland.com.